Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching me from. You're welcome to episode 2 of No Ducking Zone, and I will be your host. My name is Chadi Kobe Henry, and here we'll discuss combat sports, boxing, MMA, and all kind of combat sports, both Muay Thai. And we'll be discussing what happened at the weekend at the pyramids of Giza. It took place in Egypt, where Britain became they added another champion to their list. Hamza Shiraz is now a champion at 168, and he's targeting the winner of Canelo versus Mbili. Yeah, the winner of Canelo versus Mbili will be unifying against Hamza Shiraz, according to the rumor we are hearing. And the major thing that we want to talk about was Usyk versus Rico. A lot of us might not be able to watch the fight when it was happening live, but we all saw what happened. And it was a heartbreaking scenario for Rico because for him to put up such a good fight, put Usyk on his back foot, AJ never did that. Tyson never did that. Dubois never did that. All the people that Usyk fought, Usyk went through them. He beat them convincingly, but this is the only dot in his all his 24 wins. Okay, let's give you more a little bit about who Rico Verhoeven is. He's a Netherlands kickboxer. He's he has been undefeated for more than 10 years in kickboxing. He dominated Glory Kickboxing for more than a decade. He defended his Glory Heavyweight Kickboxing for a record of 14 times. He's not a pushover in the fighting world. He's not a pushover. Rico is not a pushover. He's a good boxer. He has one professional bout in his belt and one win, zero loss until he fought Usyk, and zero draw. Now, Rico is an Hall of Famer in Glory Kickboxing. He's an Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He has held the heavyweight championship of Glory Kickboxing for more than 12 years. He had 14 title defense, 27 winning streak. He's not somebody that has such record is not a pushover. So that was why he was given the chance, the privilege to fight the current heavyweight champion, regardless of the list of people who are currently lined up. Like for example, Ajit Kabaya. Ajit Kabaya came into the ring, and it was agreed that it's either that Usyk face Ajit Kabaya, who is mandatory. Ajit Kabaya is from Germany. He's a he's an Olympian. He's 24 fights and 24. He's undefeated. Now, Ajit Kabaya is next in line. But the people who saw what happened, the Pyramid of Giza, want a rematch. Many people never expected Rico to put up such an amazing fight. Fine, he was boxing in an unorthodox way. He was kind of pivoting like Tyson with his guard up, but he was landing the more cleaner shot. Okay, even before the 11th round incident, the in-ring commentators were just giving Usyk 3 rounds, which means Rico was leading. And in terms of power punch connection, before the 11th round, Rico has 75%, while Usyk has like 73% before the 11th round incident. Now, what happened on the 11th round? Many people will be asking me what happened because on the 11th round, Rico was knocked out, but it was unfairly. He was knocked down, then the ref counted him in. Before the time elapsed, it was like 19 seconds before the final bell. But the ref stopped the fight impromptu. He stopped it prematurely. To me, Usyk dropped Rico with his left counter. Rico recovered and replaced his mouth guard. On the process, the ref did not stop the countdown. 19 seconds passed. which means the round has ended, officially ended, which means when Rico got back to his feet, the fight might supposed to have continued for like 10 seconds. Then the bell will be, they will ring the bell for the end of the round to move over to 12th round. But when Rico was hot, fine, Rico was wobbling, but he still know where he was. He was still conscious. He was still in it. And even when before the ref jumped in to stop the fight, Rico was still throwing back punch. He was still replying. And according to the rules, once the person is still able to be throwing back punches, even though Usyk was throwing a barrage of punch towards him, but he was still throwing back. He was still retaliating. He was still reacting, showing he was aware. But the ref, I don't know, many people were pushing this narrative that the boxing community doesn't want an outsider to come and dethrone. But that narrative, I don't believe it on it because Usyk is a good fighter. Everybody knows. You saw what he did to AJ. We saw what he did to Usyk. We saw what he did to Dubois. And all these things is two times back to back. He never relent. He never ducked anyone. So for me, Usyk, this is his hardest fight I've ever seen. This fight was his hardest fight that I have ever witnessed. So now Usyk has been contemplating. We have not had his decision, but according to His Excellency Turkey Alashik, Usyk might be fighting Rico, even though Rico has appealed for immediate rematch. But Usyk might be fighting Rico, but that will be after he has fought his mandatory, which is Ajit Kabaya. And Usyk jokingly said that he will take two of them, but we know that no boxing organization will sanction uh, one person to go and fight two heavyweights. They might end up killing him. There's no joke about it. Usyk might be strong. He's good. He's a good boxer. His footwork and his IQ, everything is on point. But facing two heavyweights at the same time, that's not a good idea. I believe it's a joke. And moving forward, we saw Britain added another champion to their list in Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz got a round two knockout over Erise Bajic, who happens to step in. Uh, I would say step in. He was not the person Hamza was originally scheduled to fight, but now the fight has happened, and Hamza got a second round finish, and now he's a champion at 168 pounds. And the way things are going, I think he will be fighting the winner of Mbili and Canelo. The fight that will happen July, yeah, June, July. That should be when the fight will be happening. And a very important topic I want to bring up. Something happened at the Pyramid of Giza. A very good fighter lost. This was at the upset of the night. Most most boxing fans, most boxing lovers, everybody thought this guy was going to obliterate Sanchez. But the opposite, that was what we saw. It was like the story of Gerard Anderson versus Bakole. But this one was on a different level. Richard Torres, who happens to be a one-time Olympic silver medalist, and a prospect, a prospect. Richard Torres is good. He is good. But he happens to face a veteran in the game in the person of Sanchez. Frank Sanchez has 24 fights, one loss, which happens to be a loss to Ajit Kabaya. We all know that Ajit Kabaya is a fucking giant slayer. You saw what he did to Mahmoud. All he did to Mahmoud. He's a giant slayer. So Ajit Kabaya handed him his first loss, but since then he has not lost. And it was a serious thing for me because I thought Torres was going to get the win. I even predicted that Torres would win. But at the end of the whole thing, I was wrong because the experience part of it came hurting Torres. Torres came in the first round swinging, trying to, but he was not ready for the counter punch. Even though his trainer, who happens to be a legendary trainer, Bo McIntyre, Bomac was not happy. He's one of my favorite coaches. Yeah, Bomac is one of my favorite coaches. Bomac is a woman. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. Even though you are the legendary trainer of Terence Bud Crawford, Crawford never lost any fight. He has 42 fights, 42 wins. But Bomac tested defeat with uh, Torres Jr. It's a very hard thing for me because Torres Jr. is one of my favorite fighters. And him walking into the fight, I thought he will win. I believe he's going to win, but he went there in round two. Frank Sanchez took one good punch. He took one good punch from Frank Sanchez and he didn't recover from it. And it was his first loss. Now he's in 14 in 1. 14 fights, one loss, 12 knockouts. That's it. And I believe the loss will motivate him. The loss will shift his perspective of boxing towards positive or negative. It depends. A lot of people don't always recover fast from losing a fight. For example, Jared Anderson have not fought since he fought Martin Bankole. I believe the loss is still hurting him, but it doesn't matter. A win is a win, a loss is a loss. You can't take that out of your record. It's there. Now, coming back to the fight between Rico Verhoeven and uh, Alexander Usyk, the way I'm seeing it, I think Alexander Usyk is leaning towards an immediate rematch with Rico, which might happen, which might not happen, but we know that Ajit Kabaya is next in line, and I know that Usyk would like to prove that he won this fight fair and square. And I know he will be going for the rematch. I know Alexander Usyk will be going for the rematch. But talking about the match, the fights that happened at the Pyramid of Giza between Usyk and Rico. You know, some time ago, uh, Francis Ngannou faced Anthony Joshua, where Ngannou later uh, came out and claimed that there was a lot of favoritism. I don't know, and I don't want to believe this narrative that a lot of fans are pushing online, where they are saying that they don't want a non-boxer to win a boxer, or that some people brought up the McGregor and the, Floyd Mayweather fight, but to me, Floyd beat McGregor on point. He won that fight, but that was years ago. Boxing has changed, a lot has changed. But for me, all these people that has transitioned into boxing, none of them are pure boxers. None of them are real boxers. They are either from MMA, from kickboxing, or Muay Thai. They will now come transition. But all these guys have been training in boxing for years. That's why it's very hard to win against them. They have been training in boxing for years. For example, Alexander Usyk is a two-time gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist. That's not a child's play achievement. That's not a child's play achievement. Many boxers are dreaming to go to the Olympic. That's Olympic is like the World Cup of boxing. We all know that every football player wants to go to the World Cup. That's the same. That's the same thing goes to boxers. Every boxer, before you turn pro, you would like to go to the Olympic. And going to the Olympic for the first time, won the medal. Second one, won the medal. It's not an easy task. So for me, Rico moving over from kickboxing, it was not going to be an easy task. And looking at Alexander Usyk's record, he was once an undisputed champion at cruiserweight. He was he's always the smaller heavyweight coming into any fight. And at the end of the whole thing, he will end up beating up the big guys. Let's say he has been fighting all these big guys for all over his life. And he's not a big heavyweight. If you look at Usyk can literally make 175 if he wants. He will make cruiserweight if he wants 205. He will make light heavyweight if he wants. He's a small heavyweight. And okay, he came into the fight at two. I know that Rico was overweight more than him. Rico was two 255, where Usyk was around 230 something. So the weight discrepancy like is above normal weight discrepancy, which means Usyk is a small heavyweight. Then, but looking at his record, he beat Tyson 2 times. He beat Anthony Joshua twice. The same thing goes to Daniel Dubois. He took on Dubois twice. He knocked him out twice. TKO. Even though many people say that Daniel Dubois knocked him down, that the punch that landed it was a low blow. Some said it was not a low blow. But for me, that doesn't matter. What matters is when it's time for a champion to show up and win, he win. Looking at the fight, Alexander Usyk doesn't have any other chance, any other thing to do than if he did not knock Rico out. I believe he's not going to get the win because everybody, Rico was beating him up. Rico was roughing him up. Even though Rico was not boxing, his style of boxing was frustrating. If you are not a casual boxing fan, you understand that Rico's boxing style, Peter Fury really did a very good job. I will give this one to Peter Fury, his coach. He really did an amazing job by coming up with this such amazing plan to disrupt music, reading, his footwork. Like during the fight, nothing was working for Alexander Usyk. He was literally struggling to counter. He was literally struggling to get uh, Rico out of the, as in, let me just say, he was literally struggling to adapt to the fight, leading to the 11th round, where he brought up his, they said the Usyk we know. Usyk now started throwing a lot of punches. Maybe his corner has told him that if he didn't knock Rico out, that he's not going to get the win. That was why he came into the 11th round swinging. And that counter punch was so sweet. Rico walked into the punch. He never expected that Usyk would throw a left hook that would catch him off guard. And that punch ended up, in Henry said that Usyk showed his championship caliber, and that was it. So we may be seeing a rematch between Usyk and Rico. We might be seeing the fight between Ajit Kabayal and Usyk. Like His Excellency Turki Alashik said that the fight might happen in Germany, in a stadium in Germany. We all know that Ajit Kabaya, if he wins the heavyweight title, he will be the first German champion for over 100 years. So I think the German boxing fans, the German boxing community, they really want this one, and it should be handed to them. They should at least be given the chance to contest for the world title. At least Kabaya will put Germany on the map, on the boxing map, even though they are more of a footballing country than a boxing country. They're not like US, Cuba, Mexico, Japan, and the rest of the countries we know that are good in boxing. Um, that is it. We'll be expecting a rematch between Usyk and Rico. We might be seeing the Usyk taking on his mandatory, which is Kabaya at the end of the year. So let's just see. The fight has happened. Usyk got the win. But that's a chip on his shoulder. He need to take it off to get the people know that Usyk is still in control. But I believe Usyk will win Rico. And we'll be seeing Rico often this time around because His Excellency said that Rico will be test. He will give Rico another chance. He did well, as amazingly well, for him to put up such performance against a formidable fighter in Alexander Usyk. Rico did well, and that's it for the recap of the Glory in Giza that took place at the weekend. Thank you and God bless you. Please keep following me. My name is Chadi Kobe Henry. Like and share whenever you get this post. Please. Thank you.